that they let the situation spiral out of control. One insider even told a major outlet that he's blaming everyone but himself. He's demanding explanations, demanding results, and
that's why his tail is still in jail. What is up? What is up, YouTube? Hey, y'all know good and well I need a uplifting. Uncle Mike got on this tank top. Hey,
I can't believe Diddy locked in a cell, tunnels under his house and he can't make bail. Neighbors scared stiff, won't retrieve they ball. If it bounce over Diddy gate, they don't call. Ain't no doorbell ringing, ain't no fence climbing.
That's how
they
the
say
dance
the
should
devil
go.
dance quiet when the stars aligning. Talk in the street about basements with screams, where the silence too loud and the truth still bleed. Lawyer walks off, said the case too thick. Even his mama on IV drip. Sick trying to detox demon while praying on lies. But you can't cleanse blood when it drips from the sky.
Lawyers will argue today that Sean Combs deserves some special treatment. They're hoping to get him out from behind bars as quickly as possible.
This how the background dancers should be going.
To court following the split verdict.
I can't believe I saw the twins in the pews. Eyes wide shut trying to dodge daddy snooze. Courtroom silence when they walking slow. I felt the shame hit the floor like a soul on the go. They say he comfy now. Sheets folded neat, other inmates doing favors just to eat. He's still moving like a mobile with a plan. But God don't blink, the karma hits like a fan. Cases dropping daily, names ain't redacted. One brave soul said, nah, I'm asking. I'm not anonymous, I'm proud with the pen. Said you're gonna remember this truth again and again.
We are just getting started. We're going to win, and we're not going
take
to
my
stop
shoes off.
until he walks out of prison, a free man to his family. The defense argues there are exceptional circumstances.
I can't believe Diddy was found not guilty, but the vibe in the room still felt filthy. Face to face, I ain't flinch or shake. I told him what you did to that girl was a damn disgrace. I can't believe Diddy was found not guilty, but the vibe in the room still felt filthy. Face to face, I ain't flinch or shake. I told him what you did to that girl was a damn disgrace. I can't believe.
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. If I was a background dancer, they'd fire me. Mike, we practicing over there. Tomorrow, I'll be over there by myself. They give me the wrong address or something. What is up, YouTube? I still can't believe you got people coming in the chat room talking about Diddy won. How can you use the word winner? He won. And the boy's still in jail. I don't want to be on your winning team. I don't even want to be on your team, bruh. Cause you call that a win? Shoot. I call being able to keep a clear record. Don't have to report to nobody. That's a win to me. Being able to do all this, I can't dance and I know it. I don't give a daggone. I can't believe that people are so worried about what other people say and think that they can't get their own life together. I can't believe that, man. I can't believe. I don't care if the man first of all, I think he should do more time, more than 55 years. 55 months. Did he break down? Legal team turns on him. The legal team turns on him. Don't say that. Only one person, the brother. Oh my God. The one brother rolled out. He said, I can't do this. They had irreconcilable differences. Oh my God. Oh my God. Got him. Oh my God. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. I hope y'all having fun. Happy weekend to y'all and all that good stuff, man. Hit that subscribe button. Uncle Mike was supposed to be up there. I was supposed to be cooking. I can't cook either, y'all. Only thing I know how to do is music. Don't take that away from me. Hey, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Fame Insight. Warning, disclaimer.
If your name is Sean Diddy Combs, then 2025 just hit you like a freight train. Because according to new insider reports, Diddy is furious, not just upset, but breaking point furious at his own legal team. And what's worse, he's allegedly watching his empire crumble in real time. People close to the situation say he's been calling non-stop, demanding answers, pacing the floor, and snapping at everyone around him. And the reason? It's not just the prison time. It's the fear that his money train, that billion-dollar lifestyle, might finally be coming to a stop. Sources are claiming that Diddy's finances are drying up fast. Quiet bank moves, frozen assets, and what some are calling a cash chokehold from the inside. The same people who once protected him are now pulling away. And insiders say he's losing control of everything he built. But here's the part nobody's talking about. What really pushed Diddy over the edge wasn't the court ruling itself. It was what came right after. What he found out in private has supposedly left him furious, anxious, and desperate to regain control. And when you hear what he's allegedly been doing behind the scenes to fix it, it's going to make you look at this whole case completely differently. Before we dive in, quick shout out to every single one of you. We just hit 1,000 subscribers here on Fame Insight. That's incredible. And it's all thanks to you. The next goal, 10,000 strong. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe, tap like, and drop a comment below. Because what's coming next in this story is wild. Alright, let's break down why Diddy's inner circle is collapsing, how his money might be tied up in federal red tape, and why even his closest allies are quietly backing away. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear changes everything. Behind the scenes, insiders say Diddy's world has gone completely off script. The calm, confident image that used to follow him everywhere, gone. Now those close to him describe a man pacing in circles, shouting into phones, and refusing to accept what's happening. Multiple reports claim that Diddy has been furious at his legal team, saying they didn't fight hard enough, that they let the situation spiral out of control. One insider even told a major outlet that he's blaming everyone but himself. He's demanding explanations, demanding results, and
that's why his tail is still in jail. He blaming everybody but himself. Everybody ran down that hallway and snatched that little girl up and started kicking and beating on her. You ain't do it. Everybody else did it. Or everybody tried to hide the tape or didn't do the tape. You blaming everybody else but yourself. That's why you doing time.
Fight hard enough, that they let the situation spiral out of control. One insider refusing to accept what's happening.
Right here.
Multiple reports claim that Diddy has been furious at his legal team, saying they didn't fight hard enough, that they let the situation spiral out of control. One insider even told a major outlet that he's blaming everyone but himself. He's demanding explanations, demanding results, and getting silence in return. Because here's the thing, the lawyers aren't the problem. The situation is, the legal team did everything they could under federal pressure, but Diddy's empire was built on power, influence, and the illusion that he could always buy his way out. Now, that illusion's shattered. And the craziest part? This meltdown didn't happen right after the verdict. It happened when Diddy realized how much he was really about to lose. According to several sources, his finances have been hit harder than anyone expected. Legal fees, forfeitures, frozen accounts, and it's all piling up fast. They say Diddy's team tried to reassure him, tried to calm him down, but he wasn't listening. He kept asking one question over and over again, where's my money? That's when things reportedly took a turn, because what his lawyers told him next, that certain accounts might already be flagged and under review, set him off completely. It's one thing to face a sentence, it's another thing entirely to realize your fortune might not be yours anymore. But that's just the beginning, because the money trail goes way deeper than just a few frozen accounts. In the next section, we're going to break down exactly how Diddy's fortune started slipping through his fingers and the federal moves that insiders say caught him completely off guard. Stay with me. This is where it gets real. When news first broke that Diddy's assets were being reviewed, most people thought it was just routine procedure. But according to insiders close to the situation, that was only the surface. What really happened behind closed doors was far more serious. The moment the verdict came down, federal agencies reportedly began tracing every major account connected to Diddy's name, from his entertainment companies to private investment branches and even shell accounts tied to real estate. Within days, multiple transactions were flagged for review. Sources say several of those accounts have since been frozen under quiet federal orders. It's the kind of move that happens when prosecutors suspect money might have been used to fund, support, or conceal questionable activities. And for Diddy, that hit where it hurts the most. His empire's cash flow. Several of his former business partners are said to be panicking, claiming they had no idea federal agents were tracking their joint accounts. One insider said people are nervous, they don't want to be tied to any of it. Meanwhile, Diddy has reportedly been calling in favors, reaching out to old allies, entertainment executives, and even private investors. But it's not working. The support that once surrounded him has gone silent. No one wants to be associated with his downfall. And that silence, that's what's breaking him. Because for the first time in decades, Diddy doesn't have control. No power, no pull, no access. What's worse, this money freeze isn't temporary. Experts say once a federal review begins, it can take months or even years to untangle, which means every check, every business deal, every potential payment could be monitored. The man who once moved millions overnight can't move a dollar without eyes watching. And the real kicker, sources claim this financial freeze has completely derailed Diddy's appeal plans. Without money, he can't fund the kind of high-level defense he's used to. But that's not the only thing crumbling, because as the money locks up, the people around him are starting to back away fast. And the betrayal that's about to hit might be the one thing Diddy never saw coming. Stay right here, because in the next part, we're diving into the inner circle fallout. Who's leaving, who's turning, and who might be cooperating with federal investigators. When the money slows, loyalty fades, and that's exactly what's happening inside Diddy's circle right now. For years, his team was a fortress. Friends, managers, assistants, security, all handpicked, all loyal, all living off the energy and money of the bad boy empire. But now, that loyalty is cracking. Sources close to Diddy say several longtime associates have quietly cut contact. Some stopped answering calls, others deleted old posts, wiped photos, and tried to disappear from anything connected to him. It's not because they suddenly lost love for Diddy, it's because they're scared. Federal investigators are reportedly reaching out to anyone who handled money, bookings, or travel logistics for Diddy's business network. And the closer you were, the more questions they have. One former staffer allegedly told an outlet that they've already been subpoenaed for information about financial irregularities within Diddy's companies. Another source said people aren't loyal when the feds are involved. They're protecting themselves now. And it's not just staff walking away. Industry connections, people who once partied with Diddy, who showed up in his music videos, who called him a legend, are staying quiet. No statements, no comments, no support. It's as if everyone's erasing history before it catches up to them. Behind bars, insiders say Diddy's been asking for updates daily, trying to find out who's still with him and who's turned. The answer isn't what he wants to hear. Even his legal team, once his strongest line of defense, has grown distant. Sources claim there's tension over money, unpaid fees, unfulfilled promises, and a shrinking defense fund that's starting to dry up fast. And that's what's really driving Diddy's anger. Not just fear of prison, but the slow public collapse of everything he built. His team, his brand, his name. But the biggest betrayal might not come from his lawyers or his friends. Because according to one insider, someone from inside his financial network might already be cooperating with the government. Stay with me, because in the next section, we're breaking down who that insider could be, and how their cooperation might be the final nail in Diddy's financial coffin. Every empire has a weak link, and for Diddy, it looks like that link may have just snapped. Multiple sources are now whispering that one of his own financial insiders, someone who worked closely on his business accounts and corporate filings, has begun cooperating with federal investigators. According to reports, this individual isn't just a former employee. They were inside the money flow. They handled transfers, wired funds, and approved expenses tied directly to several of Diddy's ventures. In other words, they know where the bodies are buried, financially speaking. One insider close to the investigation described this person as the key to unlocking everything. They reportedly turned over access logs, transaction histories, and a series of internal emails that the DOJ believes could connect Diddy's business network to unlawful financial practices. If true, that's catastrophic. Because this isn't just about what Diddy did, it's about how he funded it. And that's what prosecutors love most, a clean paper trail. Once the feds have that, the entire defense strategy starts to fall apart. Even worse, people familiar with the case claim this whistleblower didn't come forward because of morality or guilt. They did it to save themselves. After realizing they were already under scrutiny, they reportedly agreed to cooperate in exchange for leniency and protection. And this move, insiders say, left Diddy blindsided. When news of the cooperation reached him, he allegedly erupted, blaming his legal team for not seeing it coming, accusing people of betrayal, and demanding names. But it was already too late. Because here's the truth. Once the feds get a cooperating witness inside your financial structure, it's like watching dominoes fall. Every payment, every email, every gift starts connecting back. And that's exactly what Diddy's team fears. They know if prosecutors can link company transactions to personal misconduct, it won't just cost him money. It could reopen criminal exposure he thought was behind him. But there's another layer to this, one that even his most loyal defenders are starting to whisper about. Reports say Diddy's panic isn't only about what's been exposed, it's about who else this insider might have named. Stick with me, because in the next section, we'll unpack what federal agents are allegedly looking at now, how Diddy's connections could face their own investigations, and why the
Kanye
industry is
West.
suddenly going quiet. When the smoke started rising around Diddy's finances, the industry didn't just distance itself, it went mute. For decades, Diddy was untouchable. Every A-list name wanted his cosign, every label chased his sound, every event needed his presence. But the second those federal documents surfaced, the phones stopped ringing. One entertainment executive, speaking off record, reportedly said, "No one wants to be next. Everyone's cleaning house quietly." And that silence says more than any statement ever could. Major brands have begun removing his name from old partnerships. Several former collaborators have deleted past posts featuring him. Even people who once bragged about learning from Diddy now refuse to answer questions about him. The machine that helped build his image
right.
is dismantling it piece by piece. Behind the scenes, lawyers for multiple record labels are said to be combing through old contracts, looking for clauses that allow them to legally separate from his business ties if criminal or financial misconduct is proven. One insider said bluntly, "They're protecting the bottom line. Diddy is no longer an asset, he's a liability." And while this corporate exodus plays out, the whispers about who else might be implicated are growing louder. The insider cooperating with the feds reportedly named several industry figures who helped process payments, arrange travel, or host private events that prosecutors now consider relevant. That revelation has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Promoters are panicking, executives are lawyering up, and publicists are crafting statements just in case. Everyone's pretending they don't know anything, but the fear is written all over the business. And for Diddy, it's a nightmare within a nightmare. Because this isn't just about him anymore. It's about everyone who ever touched his empire. The man who once built stars is now watching those same stars scatter to save themselves. But the silence won't last forever. Behind that quiet, federal pressure is building, and when it breaks, it could expose a network far bigger than anyone imagined. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll dig into how these investigations could expand beyond Diddy, and why this next phase might be the one that changes the music industry forever. When federal investigators come for one person, it's rarely just about that person. And that's exactly what's happening now. What began as a focused financial investigation into Diddy's assets and transactions has quietly evolved into something much bigger, a widening federal net that could pull in other powerful names. According to insiders close to the situation, the Department of Justice isn't just reviewing Diddy's accounts. They're analyzing every entity connected to him. That includes joint ventures, subsidiaries, and even personal management firms tied to his business empire. The feds reportedly want to know where the money came from, where it went, and who helped move it. And remember that cooperating insider from Diddy's financial team? Sources claim their testimony didn't just expose transactions. It also identified third parties who may have processed or approved those payments. We're talking about accountants, assistants, and even outside contractors. One investigator reportedly told a journalist off the record, "Once you follow the money, it tells the story." And that story, according to early findings, could reveal patterns that go back years, possibly decades, linking corporate funds to personal expenditures and activities that cross legal lines. What's most alarming for Diddy's circle is that federal investigators are now cross-referencing data from financial institutions, digital payment services, and even private jet charter logs. Each small piece of information creates a bigger picture, one that paints a timeline of where he went, who he was with, and how the money moved. And here's the twist that's got everyone in the industry watching their phones. The DOJ isn't just stopping with Diddy. They're now rumored to be looking at collaborators who may have benefited from or facilitated any part of his operations. That means agents, promoters, and business partners could all be under quiet scrutiny right now. For Diddy, that's devastating. Because once the feds start mapping out connections, every friendship, every transaction, and every favor can become evidence. His once powerful network of allies could soon be forced to choose, protect themselves or protect him. And if history tells us anything, when federal heat rises, loyalty burns out fast. But that's not the end of it, because while the investigation grows, Diddy's lawyers are scrambling behind the scenes to contain the fallout, and their next move might be the only thing standing between him and complete financial collapse. Stick with me, we're diving into that next. Inside Diddy's legal camp, the mood has shifted from strategy to survival. What started as a confident plan to appeal and rebuild his image has reportedly turned into a frantic scramble to stop the bleeding, financially and reputationally. Multiple insiders claim that emergency meetings have been held almost daily between Diddy's lawyers, financial advisors, and remaining PR team. Their mission: to figure out how much damage control is even possible now that the government has tied parts of his fortune to questionable transactions. According to reports, his lawyers are arguing internally over one crucial point: whether to fight the forfeitures or cooperate to minimize exposure. One faction allegedly wants to take an aggressive stance, appeal everything, delay proceedings, and challenge the DOJ on every filing. The other side is pushing for quiet negotiation, suggesting that continued resistance could expose even more of his financial history. And that's not the only conflict brewing. Sources say Diddy himself is furious, blaming his team for not predicting how deep the investigation would go. He reportedly feels betrayed, claiming they promised certain evidence would stay sealed. But prosecutors have since reopened multiple files under new jurisdictional grounds, giving them broader access to materials once thought untouchable. It's chaos behind closed doors. People who once spoke for him publicly are now refusing comment. Legal consultants are backing away. Even some of his longtime associates have paused communication, worried that any contact could make them appear complicit. One former insider put it bluntly: "It's like watching a ship sink in slow motion. Everyone's trying to grab a lifeboat." But here's the kicker. This legal panic isn't just about defending Diddy in court. It's about protecting what's left of his empire. Because if those financial assets continue to unravel, it won't just destroy his business portfolio, it'll erase his legacy completely. And while his legal team is busy firefighting, prosecutors are preparing their next move. Reports suggest the DOJ may soon issue a supplemental forfeiture motion, potentially targeting new assets tied to offshore accounts and undisclosed business fronts. If that happens, it won't just be another legal setback, it'll be financial annihilation. But before that hammer drops, something else is happening, something even more unexpected. Diddy's longtime allies, the ones who once called him family, are starting to speak out, and what they're saying could change everything. Stay with me. For years, Diddy was surrounded by loyalty, or at least that's what it looked like. Every event, every business venture, every photo op was filled with smiles, endorsements, and powerful friends. But now, the silence is deafening. And worse, the few people who are speaking up aren't defending him anymore. According to multiple insider reports, several of Diddy's longtime allies have begun quietly cooperating with investigators, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. Subpoenas, sealed testimonies, and mounting financial pressure are forcing people who once called him brother to distance themselves or risk being pulled in too. A source close to the situation reportedly said, "Everyone's protecting themselves now. No one's taking the fall for Diddy." That line alone tells you everything about the state of his so-called empire. It's every man for himself. Even high-profile figures who built their careers under his label are now revising their public statements. Some are claiming they barely worked with him, while others are scrubbing years of content from social media. Former producers, assistants, even a few ex-managers have started sharing their own side of what went down behind the scenes. But here's where it gets darker. Insiders allege that some of those same individuals are now part of deals with prosecutors to avoid charges of their own. They're reportedly trading insider information, financial ledgers, communication logs, and even travel documents in exchange for immunity. And for Diddy, that's devastating. Because the one thing that kept his circle loyal wasn't friendship, it was fear. Fear of being cut off, fear of exposure, fear of what he knew. But when that power disappears, so does the control. Right now, the narrative that once protected him is falling apart in real time. The man who used to control stories in the press, silence critics, and dictate industry moves is now watching those same people rewrite his story without him. And what they're saying? It's aligning more and more with the government's case. Piece by piece, testimony by testimony, the image of Diddy as a misunderstood mogul is collapsing into something much darker, a man trapped by the very empire he built. But that's not the end, because what comes next isn't about his allies or his lawyers. It's about the receipts, the evidence that the public hasn't seen yet. And once that surfaces, it could be the final nail in the coffin for Diddy's financial and cultural reign. Stay locked in. This next part might shock you. Behind every major downfall, there's always one thing that seals the deal: the receipts. And in Diddy's case, sources close to the investigation claim that prosecutors are sitting on hundreds of them. Bank transfers, shell company ledgers, travel records, even encrypted emails, all quietly building a timeline of how the empire moved money, hid expenses, and funded the lifestyle that's now under federal review. According to one federal analyst, the evidence paints a picture that's bigger than one man. They say it shows a system, a pattern, built to disguise personal spending as business operations. And here's the thing, those patterns don't lie. Algorithms are now doing what human witnesses can't, connecting every transaction, every chartered flight, every hotel booking to corporate funds that were never meant for personal use. The feds reportedly recovered records showing large payments labeled as marketing expenses, studio costs, and travel coordination. But when cross-referenced with witness statements, those same transactions allegedly funded private parties, exclusive trips, and personal accommodations tied directly to ongoing investigations. One internal source even described it as Epstein-level paperwork. Everything documented, just hidden in plain sight. And that's the nightmare scenario for Diddy, because if the receipts show intent, not just misuse, but deliberate concealment, the DOJ can reopen parts of the case under fraud and money laundering statutes. And remember, that's not double jeopardy. That's new ground, financial crime territory, which means even after the sentencing, prosecutors can keep coming, wave after wave, until there's nothing left to take. What's even more shocking is that some of these receipts reportedly trace back to offshore accounts and business partnerships overseas, linking Diddy's empire to entities that were previously outside U.S. jurisdiction. Now, under international cooperation agreements, that wall is crumbling. The data flow is open. So what does that mean? It means this investigation might not end with forfeited property. It could expand into global asset seizure, corporate dissolutions, and even charges beyond the U.S. border. It's a storm that's been years in the making, and every new document uncovered adds another piece to the puzzle. And here's the question we're all asking: who's going to get exposed next? Because if these receipts are as deep as insiders say, this isn't just about one man losing his fortune. It's about an entire ecosystem of enablers who made it possible. But what happens when that ecosystem collapses? That's where things turn personal. The walls are closing in, not just legally, but emotionally. And Diddy's next move might decide whether he survives this at all. At this point, every source, every whisper from inside Diddy's circle points to one thing: he's breaking under the weight. The confidence that once defined him has reportedly vanished. Gone are the days of smooth interviews and public bravado. What's left now, according to those close to the situation, is a man fighting to stay relevant, fighting to stay liquid, and above all, fighting to stay in control of a story that's no longer his to tell. Behind closed doors, insiders describe a scene of constant tension, sleepless nights, heated phone calls, and frantic strategies that shift by the hour. His legal team is said to be pushing him to cut his losses, to hand over what's necessary and quietly settle the financial disputes before more evidence surfaces. But Diddy? He's reportedly refusing. Pride, power, or paranoia, maybe all three, are driving him to fight until the very end. And here's where it gets even more intense. Multiple outlets have hinted that Diddy has begun liquidating private assets through intermediaries, art collections, luxury cars, and even silent partnerships in smaller ventures. But prosecutors are already watching those moves closely. Any transfer, any attempt to conceal value during an ongoing investigation can be flagged as asset evasion. That's a whole new charge. Meanwhile, emotionally, insiders say Diddy's not the same man he was a year ago. He's reportedly isolated, few visitors, fewer calls. Those who've managed to reach him say he alternates between frustration and fear, blaming everyone around him for his downfall. One source said, he's angry at everyone: the lawyers, the friends who went silent, the people who didn't show up when it mattered. But here's what makes this even more tragic. People close to him say he still believes he can bounce back. He's allegedly planning a comeback strategy, talking about a tell-all, maybe even a documentary. But there's a problem. Before you can rebuild, you have to survive the collapse. And right now, that collapse isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Because here's what's next. Prosecutors are reportedly finalizing new filings that could extend the investigation well into next year. And if those filings are accepted, this legal storm won't just follow him into 2025, it'll define it. So as Diddy sits waiting for his next court date, the question isn't, can he win this anymore? The question is, what's left to lose? Because when your fortune's frozen, your friends have flipped, and your names become a headline for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes the hardest battle isn't in the courtroom, it's in the mirror. And if the reports are true, that reflection might be the one thing Diddy's not ready to face. Right now, the empire that once looked untouchable is collapsing in slow motion, and the speed is only picking up. From the outside, it looks like headlines and rumors, but inside the walls of what's left of Diddy's business operations, it's chaos. Lawsuits, account freezes, panicked calls from investors, and staff members quietly walking away. One insider reportedly described the scene at one of his media offices as eerily quiet. Projects have stalled, former employees are refusing to sign new NDAs, and several executives, the same ones who were once proud to flaunt their loyalty, have begun cooperating with financial investigators to protect their own names. Here's what most people don't realize. When the government freezes your accounts, it doesn't just stop your spending, it paralyzes your infrastructure. Payroll halts, contracts default, properties sit unpaid. And according to leaked legal filings, multiple of Diddy's LLCs are now being flagged for review, meaning even the shell companies can't move money without clearance. And the domino effect? It's brutal. Endorsement partners are pulling out, licensing deals are being reviewed. Even long-term collaborators who once defended him on camera are quietly scrubbing mentions of him online. Every trace of his influence is disappearing faster than anyone thought possible. But here's the irony. For years, Diddy was the man who preached control. He built his image around being untouchable, unstoppable, the boss of all bosses. Now that same obsession with control is the very thing destroying him. Sources close to his team say he's refusing to delegate or listen to his advisors. Every decision goes through him, and that's slowing everything down. Meanwhile, the public perception is shifting permanently. Once fans start seeing court documents, forfeiture reports, and silent collaborators stepping forward, it's nearly impossible to come back from that. You can buy publicity, but you can't buy credibility. One former associate summed it up perfectly. He's not losing money, he's losing power, and that's something he can't buy back. And that's what makes this part of the story so unsettling. Because even as the empire crumbles, Diddy reportedly refuses to accept it's over. He's allegedly telling his inner circle that this is just a setback, that he'll rebrand and rebuild. But the people around him, they're not so sure anymore. Because when your name becomes synonymous with scandal, and your allies start testifying instead of protecting, that's not just a fall from grace. That's the end of an era. And if history's taught us anything, it's this. When the empire starts to burn, it doesn't go out quietly. The question is, who else gets caught in the fire before it's over? As the dust settles, what's happening around Diddy isn't just about one man's collapse. It's a full-blown industry reckoning. Executives, producers, former friends. Everyone once tied to the empire is now being forced to pick a side, distance themselves publicly, or risk going down with him. Behind the scenes, record labels are reportedly conducting quiet audits, scrubbing old contracts and payment trails that might connect back to Diddy's corporate network. Even major streaming platforms have begun holding internal discussions about what to do with his catalog, whether to keep promoting it or quietly bury it under algorithm updates. Insiders say the energy in Hollywood and the music industry has shifted. No one wants to be the next one exposed. Every partnership, every influencer deal, every charity appearance tied to him is now radioactive. For the first time, people who used to brag about being Diddy's people are going silent, deleting photos and denying connections. And here's where it gets darker. The financial fallout doesn't end with him. Multiple smaller artists who signed under his umbrella are now stuck in limbo. Their royalties frozen, their contracts suspended. Their names unfairly tied to a storm they didn't create. One artist allegedly told a reporter, "He built us up just to take us down with him." And what about Diddy's reputation? That's the real casualty. Even if somehow he makes it through this legally, the image that made him billions, the charm, the swagger, the mogul mystique is gone. Every interview clip, every motivational speech, every celebration from his bad boy era now plays like a cautionary tale. Yet there's one more twist that keeps people glued to this story. The whispers that Diddy might be planning to talk. Not in a tell-all memoir or an apology or cure, but in a move that could shake the very foundations of the industry. Rumors suggest he's pondering revealing what he knows about others, powerful people, hidden deals, buried scandals. If true, that would turn the tables completely. Because the same networks that once protected him might suddenly become the ones that silence him. And that's where the final question lies. Is this truly Diddy's downfall, or just the prelude to something even bigger? Stay with me. Because what's coming next could change everything we thought we knew about power, money, and what really goes on behind the velvet curtains of fame. Just when everyone thinks the story's reached its end, new whispers start to surface, and they all point to one chilling truth. This isn't over. Sources close to federal investigators claim that multiple sealed documents are still sitting in the system, waiting to be opened once ongoing reviews are completed. Translation? The next wave could be bigger than anyone expects. Diddy's team is said to be in full crisis mode, not just because of what's already public, but because of what hasn't surfaced yet. Remember, the federal government doesn't move fast. They move strategically. They wait, gather, build pressure, and when the timing's right, they strike with precision. Insiders are saying that's exactly what's happening now. Agents are reportedly reanalyzing financial records, tracing offshore transactions, and interviewing witnesses who were too scared to talk months ago. Some of these individuals are no longer afraid, and they're starting to cooperate, quietly, carefully, but consistently. And here's where the atmosphere gets heavy. Those closest to Diddy are starting to distance themselves, not out of disloyalty, but self-preservation. Associates who once vouched for him are reportedly lawyering up. Business partners are cutting contracts early. And publicists, they're ghosting. Because when federal investigators start digging, nobody wants their name in the footnotes. What's worse, the media is circling again. Leaks, exclusives, anonymous insiders. They're all fighting for the next headline. Every day, a new piece of information trickles out, and with each one, Diddy's chances of recovery shrink even further. But here's the cliffhanger. Some insiders claim Diddy has a backup plan, a final card to play. They say he's been documenting everything, years of deals, private meetings, and conversations, all stored away in case he ever needed leverage. If that's true, the next chapter could flip the power dynamic entirely. Imagine this: one man, cornered and desperate, holding secrets that could expose others far beyond the music industry. If he releases them intentionally or not, this entire story could transform from one man's downfall to an industry-wide reckoning. So the question isn't just what happens to Diddy now, it's who else might fall with him. Because if those files ever see daylight, the storm we've seen so far might just be the calm before something far more explosive. And that, right there, is where we leave it for now. The empire built on power, fame, and fear, slowly crumbling in real time. From luxury mansions to frozen bank accounts, from industry control to complete isolation, it's the story no one thought they'd ever see unfold this way. But make no mistake, this is far from the end. If the whispers about hidden files, sealed documents, and unspoken names are true, then we might just be standing at the edge of a much bigger storm. Because when one domino falls in Hollywood, it rarely falls alone. Before we wrap up, I want to say this. Thank you, truly. Fame Insight just hit 1,000 subscribers, and that's all because of you. Every like, every comment, every person who hits that share button, you're the reason this channel keeps growing. And now we're on the road to 10,000. So if you want to keep uncovering the truth behind fame, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss what comes next, because what's coming next might change everything. Until then, stay curious, stay sharp, and remember, in this world of fame and power, the truth always finds its way out. This is Fame Insight, and we'll see you in the next one.
Man, that was pretty cool right there, man. They had a nice little long gap with no music going on. Don't know how that happened. Hey, oh my God. I know one thing, man. Diddy, no time soon, Diddy breakdown, legal team turns on him. They ain't turning, that's cap. That's cap. They ain't gonna turn on him that yet until his pockets is emptied 100%. His pockets ain't 100% empty. You ain't got no money? Oh, well, see you later, bye. Diddy guilty. That's what they gonna do, man. Hey, look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Shout out to all my enders. Shout out to everybody who's supporting the channel, man. Shout out to everybody who breaks their neck to support the channel. We are doing a show, man. A show. I'm doing in the Bahamas. We're doing a trip to the Bahamas, and I'm gonna be actually shooting a video there. You know, hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.